What is the Progress Dashboard, you may ask? Well, it's a simple coaching tool that has been a great help to many of our clients. Actually, some of them have used it as they coach their own staff, ministry teams, and other people they've influenced. And we hope that you can adapt it and use it yourself. Now, to help you understand how this tool would be used, let me introduce you to Donna. Donna had 300 people in her organization. In her performance review, she was told that she needs to be a better coach for the 12 people that report to her directly. Why is this important? Because good people do not need to be managed, but they need to be coached, motivated, and developed. So in coaching Donna, I wanted to give her a simple tool that can be transferable tool and a process that she can use with her own 12 managers, with the hope that they also in turn can use it with their own supervisors and staff. To start, we need to ask, what is coaching? What is coaching? Coaching is a purpose-driven, change-focused, process-oriented, personal relationship that seeks the best interest and the well-being of the client. See, coaching is not primarily for the benefit of the organization, although the organization will benefit as a result of good coaching. But it's really for the benefit of the individual client, because out of their development, the community will grow and be enhanced. So there are three key words here we need to focus on: purpose, process, and tools. Purpose, process, and tools. So let me walk you through how this would work. I'd like to walk you through the process of coaching. The process of coaching. The process of coaching has a beginning, has execution, and has sharing. And we call that SET. Start, execution, and share. Start, execution, and share. So the start portion really is, it's a discovery conversation that leads to agreement. Agreement on what is the purpose of the coaching relationship. Why are we doing this? What are the objectives? What do we want to see? What are the changes we need to see? And also, what commitments are we making? Commitments to transparency and honesty, commitment to communication, and above all, commitment to the priority of this process, because it has a price on the part of the coach as well as the client. So there need to be an element of commitment and discipline and accountability involved in it. That's the start. Once we have this discovery and agreement out of the picture, then we go into what we call the execution. And the execution is a series of coaching conversations over a period of time. They are disciplined, and they use a model called GROW, G-R-O-W. And this model is fairly common in the change management world. It was instituted many years ago by two psychologists and coaches that have developed it, and it's used in a variety of ways, and we will deal with it later. But then the sharing piece. Through all my coaching relationships, I encourage my clients to share what they have learned, what they are learning with other people. Why? Because as they share what they are learning, two things happen. They are transferring their skills to other people, but even more importantly, as they share the change that they are seeking and the process they are going through, it instills an element of accountability and discipline, and helps them to personalize what they are doing for their own benefit. So let's take a closer look at the GROW model. The GROW model is basically four words that starts GROW. Every coaching conversation must have a specific goal. What is the goal? What we want to accomplish out of that specific session? And how does it relate to the coaching objectives and the coaching purpose? Once you have a clear goal, because without a goal, my friend, I can assure you, the coaching conversation will drift in many directions and will become very frustrating and useless for both the coach and the client. So a coaching conversation needs to be focused on the goal, one specific goal, or maybe two goals, if at best a primary goal and a secondary goal, that relate to the coaching objectives and the coaching purpose. Once you have a clear goal, then the coaching conversation would include the reality. What are the real issues we're dealing with? And here the coach would simply ask open-ended questions like what, how, when, why, all of these open-ended questions that encourages the client to articulate and share their honest thoughts about the real issues they are dealing with. Once we have the real issues covered, then we deal with the options. What options for change do you have? What do you think you can do? How can you do? What can you do about it? All of these issues that uncover what are the reasonable options, the realistic options, and filter them out of what is unreasonable. Because coaching needs to deal with what's reasonable. What is reasonable? Once we have the goal, the reality, and the options, then the last part of the coaching conversation is the wrap-up. And the wrap-up is really, let's summarize what we've talked about, and then what is the commitment? What is it that you are going to do as a result of all of this conversation we've had? What kind of action plans? What will you do next? What is it that you are committed to doing before our next meeting? You see, that's the GROW. Grow. That's the GROW model. Now, having said that, the GROW model is wonderful and it's used in a variety of ways, but we added another element to it. We call it introduction. Well, the introduction is really the beginning of every coaching visit. Normally, I ask a person, how are you? I mean, that's a common question we ask anyone we meet, isn't it? When we first meet. So we introduced there an element of introduction, a welcome, but also a progress review. Because once we have that progress review, we take a look and then we engage in the GROW model of the coaching conversation, Having added this intro, we like to call our coaching model IGROW. 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 Now that I have shared with you the coaching process based on the GROW model, let me share with you the coaching tool that we use, the coaching tool. We call it the Progress Dashboard. And it's a form that sits online in a virtual shared folder, a web-based folder that's confidential, because this is a confidential relationship between coach and client. And it's a form that the client builds on his own. It's made of two parts. The first part is the intro part. Remember, we talked about the introduction part, which is really important. And here we basically, the client fills in this form before the coaching visit. Please remember this. That's very important. The client or the coachee fills in this form before the coaching visit. So me as a coach, I get to see it before we meet. It gives me a chance to think about it and pray about it and plan for our coaching visit to make it most effective. The first entry of that coaching dashboard, or the first part of the coaching dashboard, is basically, how are you? How are you? Normally, when you ask somebody, how are you? They say, I'm fine. But how fine are you really? So I like to have it a bit more detailed. How are you physically, emotionally, spiritually, and all the aspects of your work life? On a scale of 1 to 5, give me a number. Now, here I'm leveraging another tool that we have, and it's available to you totally online, totally free. We call it the Wellness Gauge, which deal with more of an analysis of how you are doing. And we'll send you a link for that Wellness Gauge as well. Now, having dealt with the how are you piece, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and work life, we talk about progress review. Since the last time we met, what have you learned? And what is it that you want to do as a result of that learning experience? What has God revealed to you that impacts your coaching objectives or coaching purpose? And then the second part, what challenges are you facing? What challenges are you facing? You see, what we want to reflect is on the past. What have you done well? But also we want to acknowledge that since the last time we met, yeah, you may have faced some challenges, or maybe you have some concerns that you'd like me as your coach to be aware of, Or maybe you have issues and concerns you'd like to discuss. Once we have done that part, which by the way, you as the client, you fill all of this before we meet. It gives me a chance as your coach to think about them, to pray about them, and be prepared to discuss them. Then comes the second part, and that is the goal. The goal. If you remember in that part, the first part that we have here, you state the goal of your coaching objectives. What is your goal of your coaching objectives? And here basically we state what are the real issues you're dealing with. You see, out of that conversation, we talk about the real issues, the options, and then we wrap it up. This second part of the form is really your summary. It's your diary. It's your notes. You write them in after we finish our coaching conversation. This becomes a record of what we talked about. You can refer to it later on in your life, or occasionally we might refer to it during other sessions. We say, did we discuss this before? Did you say something you're going to do about that? And it gives us a point of dialogue. You see, all of these documents, all of these forms are dated. And over time, over the period of our coaching relationship, you may end with 6, 7, 10, 12 of these progress dashboard documents that you can refer to them. I hope through this simple process, we have shared with you a process and a tool that you can adapt and make it your own and use it to impact the lives of people that God brings into your life. Thank you for allowing us to share this with you. Have a wonderful day.